Hi. Um, Wanted to post up a video of myself and um, kind of say something personal, but also say something um, just in general. Um, I am Joe Cassidy. I'm engaged to Amanda Figved, and we live in the Aurora area of Illinois. Um, Wanted to mention that um, I've grown up in a household that believes in Christianity, and I've had um, an encounter with the Lord of um, Christianity, Jesus, and wanted to state that very clearly before I say anything more. Um, that I believe in Jesus Christ as the one and only Son of God, who came to this earth 2,000 years ago as a man, died on a cross, was buried, and rose again 3 days later, and is alive today, and lives in the hearts of all Christians. Um, that's what I believe, that's what I will affirm, and it's what the world is going to need, because we are approaching days that will be dark, and when you're in a dark place you need light, and as God describes himself in the Bible, he is the light of the world. So I had started this evening laughing and joking with my fiance, and one of the things that she said tonight was that she was proud of her nephew, and her nephew is still in grade school, and just loves life. And I have no nephews, but I have a niece, and I have cousins that are similar age to Amanda's nephew. And the ability that that young age group can rejoice in life is only part of what can get us through dark times. As adults, we have a tendency to, to be a kid again, to be a kid again. But that's only part of it. It's it's great to embrace what so many people lose and think that they've outgrown. But it's still only part of what life is all about. And the interesting comment from my fiance was that it didn't matter what her nephew was doing necessarily. She was proud of him for being who he is. That's what she's most proud of him for. That he, is a unique individual, and he shines like that. One of the great things that I found as I've gone through life is how big every person is. That physically in size, we're not that big. It's a big world, and a person is not that big on it compared to the size of the world. But each person, as soon as you begin a conversation with them, as soon as you see a light in their eyes, as soon as you hear the sound of laughter or of crying or the sound of their run as they're going down the track, or the sound of their splashing as they're swimming, or even the sound of their breathing. You get a sense that that's big, that a person is big, that there's more to them than what meets the eye. And my fiance is proud of her nephew for embracing the unique way in which he is big. I've had an opportunity, I'm an American, because I'm born and raised, but I've had an opportunity to travel. And I've gone to Moscow, my most recent international destination. And loved it. Absolutely loved it. To see what Russian people are embracing in life was just great to see. That they would take time to enjoy outdoors. They would take time to be content and thankful for what they had. As I've gone across the ocean several other times, I've never noticed a country so content but yet not happy other than Russia. That you stuck out like a sore thumb, as Americans use that phrase to say, you looked so out of place if you had a smile. Like, I walked around and I don't smile a great deal, but I do smile. But, the people I was spending my time with, they were like, you could never blend in as a Russian. You smile too much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm noticing that too. And what we need right now is to go back and enjoy life like little kids. But the only way we can go back to that, back to that enjoyment, the reason why kids universally enjoy life is because they are resting. They don't try to solve all the problems of the world. They don't try to, manage everything to a minute scale. They don't try to manage everything to a large scale. They don't strive in much. And content with not striving in much because they know there's somebody bigger than them that understands the world better than they do. And they can rest and concern themselves with what they want to concern themselves with. If they want to play in the dirt, they can rest and say, well, mommy's going to get me a meal when I'm hungry. I don't need to worry about, saving money or, fixing a meal even. There's somebody bigger, and when I have something that I need, it will be met. The same is true for adults. When we have something that we need somebody bigger. And if we don't think there is anybody bigger, we're not going to rest. We're not going to embrace life and enjoy it. If there's nobody bigger than us, there's no rest. One of the biggest problems in Christianity is that we have forgotten how to rest in God. And it's been a very poor example of what life should be to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, I'm not trying to address you, I'm trying to address Christians at this moment. Christians need to know that resting in God is not something to be ashamed of. That wanting peace to only come from Him, from Jesus. If you wait long enough, that peace will come. And you have to wait with an open eye and an open ear. Anticipating that you'll receive an answer for your waiting. One of the great things about my fiance's nephew is that he smiles when he's active, when he's moving.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is so great is it shows all the adults around him that they don't need to think through everything to enjoy life. Sometimes they just need to move. And come what may, just move. One of the interesting things in my Christian walk that has meant the most to me is understanding God as a God who loves to move, but was willing to move less and less until He actually didn't move at all and died on the cross. God loves to be involved in what He created. He loves to move and work and interact with all of us. But how can you interact when nobody has an open eye or an open ear, when they're waiting for something or someone to be bigger than them, but they don't even keep a lookout to see if they can notice somebody bigger than them. Truth is, you can't interact with somebody who's not looking for you. Truth is, you cannot be noticed by somebody who doesn't want to notice you. You cannot have a relationship with them. But you can make them aware that you exist. And that's what God did when He created the world, and when He died on the cross, and when He rose again. So He made us all aware that He exists. And in this current life that we live in, before we die, there is no perfect understanding, perfect relating to God. But we can know that He exists because He moved slower and slower and slower than any of us could, and died for my fiance, died for my fiance's nephew, died for myself, died for my relatives, died for America, died for Russia, died for Afghanistan, died for Egypt. And yet, even still, He died for Israel, Libya, Spain, Portugal, Timbuktu. And everyone around us that we could see or hear. And even those that we cannot see or hear because they're so small. And not yet born. It's a hard time when the world does not have somebody bigger than them to rest in. It's a hard time economically when the world, and I'm not talking to Christians now, I'm talking to everybody, Christians included, when the world does not have somebody bigger than them. You wonder why the nations are in turmoil and stocks are fluctuating and bread isn't always distributed to those that are hungry. We don't believe anymore, as young kids know inherently, that there's somebody bigger than them that will meet needs if needs should come. And needs come for everybody, young and old. And they're going to come more frequent. But that doesn't matter if there's somebody big enough to meet them. So I'm beginning to talk to whoever may listen with this posting. Um, I'm wanting to say, um, with this one in particular, that you can't have peace unless you admit that you need rest. The person who's sick doesn't have peace, isn't settled unless they can just rest until they recover. The people who are sick and continue to push themselves, end up dying. But those that are sick and make a choice to acknowledge that they need rest, those people have a chance of living. And if any of us are sick, we need to acknowledge that we need rest. We need somebody bigger than us to handle things while we recover. The answer is Jesus. He's bigger than us. So whether you're Russian, whether you're American, whether you're Mexican, Chilean, Brazilian, Canadian, Chinese, Japanese, I'm sorry for your loss, Japan. You still have somebody bigger than you, and you can rest and recover.